Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to start something new that's to my channel anyways, is build series. We're going to follow stuff that I actually build throughout the week instead of just doing how-to videos all the time. And I figured I'd start with this 34 Ford. We chopped this on the Chopaholics live stream on Rod and Style. Go over to Rod and Style and check that out. We did all the cuts and everything in front of a live audience. It was a lot of fun. So now I'm going to finish building this car. We need to see where it's at. Basically, it has backing plates, completely empty, nothing in them. But we have 39 spindles, 39 backing plates on the back. So this is the type of stuff you want to start out with. The customer and I don't know much about the motor. What we do know, it's been sitting. It's obviously in a non-running state because nothing's hooked up. It's missing a lot of stuff. We need to figure out if the motor's any good. We need to put brakes on the car. We need to get pedals for it. I'm going to put 39 pedals and a 34 Ford frame. So that's pretty common, a cool thing to do to get some juice brakes on a hot rod like this. This is going to be a traditional hot rod build. The customer plans to drag race it in all the vintage drag races like Trog and stuff like that. So that's the purpose of this car. It's going to be straight drag car, race car. Bomber seats, so very traditional hot rod.
Let's pull the intake, see what it looks like. And I'm going to put oil down the cylinder. Bunch of them.
So it's very typical for these to sit and sludge up. They have a little windage tray in the bottom, the oil pan. And if you want to see what kind of sludge you have on a flathead, the very first thing you do is take the intake off. The intake valley sludges first. These things are terrible with returning oil. So a lot of things I like to do when you're completely rebuilding a flathead is smooth out the intake valley as much as possible so oil slides through better. Then use the internal engine paint. I always forget what it's called, but you guys know I'm talking about, that red paint that makes it super slick on the inside of a motor. That's the type of stuff that's good upgrades to a flathead. But I want to see what kind of sludge is in the valley. If there's any kind of sludge at all, I want to pull the motor out and drop the oil pan. Because if there's sludge in the valley, there's sludge in the windage trays of the oil pan. It's turning over awesome.
lot of sludge. What's that mean for this project?
It means I gotta pull the motor out to see if it's any good. I gotta pull the motor out to get the oil pan off. See if the motor's any good enough shape to use it. This is a 1 year only motor though. That's pretty cool.
1 year old.
It's got this raised intake. I only did that in 1941. Yeah. I want to drain the oil out of the oil pan so I can see the consistency of the oil. You can see if you have water, bearing material, big fragments, because on a flathead oil pan, the drain plug is huge drain plug. So if there's any material in the bottom of the oil pan, like part of a piston or anything crazy like that, more than likely you can see it up in there, or it'll fall out when you take the plug out. So I want to drain the oil and see what it looks like. And when I did that on this, water came out. Some water came out. Now, I don't know, it was dirty, mixed with oil, not sure if it was coolant. As you can see, this thing hasn't been hooked up with coolant in it for a long time. So it didn't look like coolant, it was clear. The only thing I can think of is the customer did pull this in on a flatbed in the middle of a snowstorm. So it's possible up in here somewhere on the vent, maybe even down the carb, water came in during the snowstorm. So hopefully, I'm hoping that's what that was from, because when we went to go to chop the top, I put tape on the fuel pump right here, the fuel pump stand, to make sure we didn't get any metal shavings or anything inside the motor. So it could have came through there because it wasn't taped up. That part of it wasn't taped up at all when I got it. But that, if it went right down from the stand, it could be fine. I ratcheted the motor over. It wasn't stuck whatsoever. It spins over awesome. You guys know how it is. You crank it over, you can actually fill a loose rod. That's what I was feeling for. Maybe we might have some bad bearings or anything like that. I felt nothing at all. It felt great. So I'm hoping that's where that water came from. When I pulled the intake off, there was sludge in the valley. So that tells me the oil pan has to come off. In order for the oil pan to come off on a flathead, you got to pull it out of the car. There's just not enough room in there. And the transmission bolts to the oil pan. Look how open this car is. I'd rather pull it out than try to drop inside the car. That'd be silly. So I need to make sure that the customer, I'm going to need to call him and make sure we want to spend more time investigating the flathead. But I totally think it's worth it. Right now, it's a 50-50 chance, which is a pretty good chance. 50-50 is good odds on a flathead. For you guys who mess with flatheads, you buy 6 blocks and 5 of them might be cracked and worth nothing, and 1 might be the golden ticket. So I still have high hopes. So we need to pull the oil pan, see if there's any sludge in there, clean it out really well, drop the oil pump, clean the oil pump out really well, and put it back in. That's what I'm going to recommend to him, which I'm pretty sure he's on board. But you always got to make sure someone doesn't have another motor just sitting around. They'd rather switch them out. So there needs to be more investigation on this motor. Like I said, 50-50. We need to see what it all looks like down in there. So tune in next week. I'll upload these weekly of my projects. We got the 34. I have a 53 F100. It's complete restoration coming in. Then I have a secret project that I'm actually doing on another channel. I should be posting that this week or next week, what that secret project is. But that's the one I'm most excited about, that secret project, guys. So make sure you subscribe, like the channel, get motivated, get out in the garage, and get your shift together.